Works great, nice weight to product and it helps it stay put while using it. The feet are a big asset to the jig in its staying put and not marring the surface it may be set upon. It takes a little to get used to the buckle keepers at each end. They hold the buckles on very well, but you do have to be aware of how you are pulling on the cording so as not to pop the buckles off the jig tabs. Easy to use and set the jig sizes. Will buy again.
This jig is terrific for several reasons, not the least of which is the folder included with directions for making bracelets. I have a book that describes paracord projects, but the instructions are spotty and assume you know how to fashion certain knots already. This folder is very explicit and detailed, and gives tips that I found very useful. My first attempt making a bracelet using one of the lengths of included cord and supplied buckles was a resounding success. The very first one. The jig itself is very sturdy and well made. It is easy to adjust and the rubber feet give it great stability so it doesn't shift around while you're making a bracelet. The lengths of cord that come with it are a good length to make an 8-inch bracelet, which works for me, but could have made one a couple of inches longer, too. The measurements on the jig are very clear and well described in the flyer so you know how to set it to end up with a bracelet in the size you want. The directions show making a single cord version of the bracelet, which works well with the 38 buckles supplied. You see 2 strands of cord attached to the buckle ends, but once you know how to do it, stepping up to the double cord version which has 4 strands showing on the buckle using a bigger buckle should be quite doable. Neither the cord supply, nor the little buckles are top quality, but fine for initial use and practice, plus fun colors. I'll keep one length to use as a measure for my next bracelet, which I'll make from the top quality cord I bought separately. I'm extremely pleased with this jig and recommend it for those who are just starting out, and may want to make a number of bracelets for family and friends, or to sell.
I had trouble at first using the SpeedyJig. The owner, Mark, gave me a call and talked me through the instructions and I learned what my mistakes were. I believe the excellent customer service by Mark made my day and I will buy another one in the future. Very sturdy jig. The wing nut is just the right size to loosen by hand, as opposed to requiring a pair of pliers to both loosen and tighten a wooden jig purchased a few years ago. Other benefits are the hooks to slip the buckles over. On other models I would have to remove 4 screws and place a female buckle on one end of the jog, and a male buckle on the other in order to begin braiding a bracelet. Anytime I mistakenly switched buckle manufacturers, or intentionally switched buckle sizes, I would need extra time to change the buckles attached to the jig. With this, it's as simple as slipping my buckle of choice over the hook on each end. It takes seconds, instead of minutes. Also, the rubber feet are handy. I'm able to braid on my workbench, instead of having to clamp my previous jig to a sawhorse. I couldn't be happier.
A really good aid to quickly make paracord bracelets. I do have one objection, however. Not all buckles will fit on the ends. Not a huge problem, you just have to make sure you get the right kind. I found the proper buckles at my local Walmart. They are called parachute cord clips made by Horizon Group, USA. They are packaged 5 to a bag and cost less than $2.00. I'm glad to have made this purchase and look forward to producing a great many paracord bracelets for local teams and youth groups.
I've never said that about anything I'd bought, but here it is. This jig is a joy to use. That thought just hit me today when I was making a bracelet. It's durable, adjustable, adaptable, sturdy, accurate. Sure, you can build one yourself out of wood, but if you are like me, you wouldn't quite get it right the first time, and you won't feel like building a second better one. Just get this. BRBR instructions are glossy printed, but a tiny bit confusing. You really need to study them a bit. BRBR starter kit includes some paracord flattened and kinda stiff bucles. The male end prongs are a smidge wider on the outside edge than they ought to be, like paracord galaxy cells, making snapping them together single-handed onto your wrist a bit tricky. But you can solve that with a tiny bit of sandpaper, or just buy your own buckles, which y'all have to, eventually, from somewhere else. Or, leave as is, you can still make great bracelets. BRBR I've also used this to coil cord and rope, which isn't what it was intended for, but it works great.
Very well made and sturdy. Love the rubber feet to keep in place while tying knots. There are a couple things worth improving on this jig. I have modified these myself. First one is the buckles like to come off while weaving. Being paracord project, I would suggest drilling and tapping holes for small screws to hold buckles in place. Also, the scalar ruler sticker on the back gets damaged with each new size you adjust it to. I would suggest placing the scale just enough to clear the adjustment screw and/or engraving the scale into the metal itself.
If you have plans to make one or more bracelets, get this jig. Attempting to make them by taping the buckles to a work surface or putting the buckles over nails in a board, know what a hunk pita that is. I don't use the plastic buckles as I prefer the stainless steel shackle type. These work fine on this jig. One end slips right over the tab on the jig. For the other end, use a wire tie, zip tie, cable tie to hold the shackle in place. Be forewarned, I have many years of cable lacing, so my fingers have quite the callus build. If you don't, wrap your little fingers with cloth adhesive tape unless you want your skin to peel off. Lacing bracelets can be hard on them. Once I saw the picture and product description, I purchased this jig without hesitation. The design is simple, which I like. It is durable and sturdy. Having this jig was a big help in making paracord bracelets. I got more control and finished the bracelet faster. I'm enjoying making paracord bracelets than before. I got a different design as shown. Instead of having 3 tabs, the jig I received got 2. That did not bother me at all. Function is still the same, and I noticed the numbers in regards with the ruler are before the line and not after. No problem in reading those numbers. In addition, they have a prompt customer service. If you are looking for a paracord jig, I highly recommend this product.
I used this jig the first night I got it and was amazed at the quality of the jig. The jig is made of sturdy steel with a wing nut to loosen and adjust the jig to the desired size and then tighten. There is also a ruler from 4 to 12 to accommodate most projects. On the bottom there are rubber feet to keep the product from sliding on any work surface. It also comes with 3 tin rolls of paracord and some smaller buckles. I couldn't be more thrilled with the product, and look forward to the hours of enjoyment I will have making things with this jig.